So the Lord gave me some insight during my devotional time. I'm looking down because I have notes, and I asked him if he wanted me to share. So I'm going to share. And I guess if I could title this as a message, it would be called "It Is Time." 2 days ago, during my devotional time, I gave the Lord my surrender in regards to his processing. Everybody needs to be processed by God for whatever their ministry is, their purpose is, their destiny is. And it's up to you to actually submit to that process. So as I was reading the word, he started to speak to me, and this is what he said. It is time for us to ask God for his will to be done in all matters. It is no longer time to ask God for comfort. We have lived all of our lives seeking peace and comfort and not revival and change. The process of victory is not always comfortable. Sometimes it requires that you stay in a place of processing so that when you get to your victory, you will be able to maintain it. We see this with Moses and Israel in the wilderness. The whole time Israel cried out for comfort and peace and longed to go back to what kept them captive. I dare to say to you, comfort is what kept you captive. The peace, my friend, in some circumstances has been lying to you. You think it's good. You think it's all good, and that is the problem. You don't see that the problem is you. And that is where the devil would like you to stay, in a place where you think you're quote unquote good, that you think it's okay, and the whole time you're deceived. There are two types of rest: the informed, educated, and prepared rest, the rest that sleeps well because the person knows that they have been waiting appropriately. Then there's the foolish rest, the rest that says, it's okay, I have time, I have grace, I'm good. Don't be like the foolish virgins who thought they had time. They thought they were good when they were not. Then I did some research. We think about the parable of the wise and the unwise virgins. When Jesus came, when the bridegroom came in the parable, which was Jesus, the wise virgins had oil. And then I did some research. The most common oil used in lamps in biblical times was olive oil. And how is olive oil made? It must be pressed. You don't have enough oil because you have not been processed enough. And here we see why the wise virgins were stingy about their oil. They understood the process. Now, in order to process olive oil or to get oil out of an olive, they have to be harvested by hand, or they're beat off. The fruit is beat off the trees. Like they either have to beat the fruit off the trees or they have to pull it down. This is just so good. The olives were then washed and crushed to remove the pits. The remaining pulp was placed in woven bags or baskets, and the baskets themselves were pressed. Don't be like the unwise virgins. See, the unwise virgins did not go through the process to get the oil that they needed to keep their lamps going. In fact, they thought they had time. They didn't want to worry about it. They didn't want to go through the process. However, the wise virgins, they went and they harvested the fruit. They either beat it off the tree or they gathered it with their hands. They washed the fruit. And it was crushed to remove the pits, right? The sin that's in us. And then the remaining pulp was placed in woven bags and baskets and pressed. This is the processing of God. You must be processed. You cannot always ask God to comfort you at times. Sometimes it will take a pressing in order to get the oil out so that you can be prepared when the bridegroom comes. Like that. I don't know if anybody else ever had that revelation, but it touched my heart, and I hope it touches yours. God bless you and keep you. Amen.